Hello, welcome. Council India present Mental Health Talks. My name is Bobby Thakur, and I want to ask you a question that you do you know what is the difference between knowledge and the information? Well, knowledge is something you store and you are keeping that into your memory, and there's no changes happening in you, in your perception, in your you know uh, your behavior. But when we talk about the knowledge is something that changes something in you, your perception, your behavior, your style, whatever there is. If there is change, it means you are knowledgeful. So whenever you use your information to create a change, that's what the learning happens. So I welcome you on behalf of Council India for this mental health talks, where we have a different topic today, which is addiction demystified. In this, we're going to talk about, in a very simplified way, what is the addiction and how we can take some steps, or how to identify that, and what are the various aspects that we need to learn about this thing. And so to present this, or to help for this topic, we have Dr. Anant Agrawal with us. He's a consultant psychiatrist, he's MBBS, and he's giving his services in this mental health field from last 4 to 5 years. He's working with Tulasi Healthcare, and he's doing his own practices as well. So let's welcome Dr. Anant Agrawal. Dr. Anant,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Bob?
I'm good too. Thank you so much. Okay, so before going ahead, I would like to ask about your journey. Being a mental health professional, how is your journey so far?
It has been a wonderful journey, and I really liked, psychiatry as a field when I was doing my undergraduation. That is why I sort of decided to go for it.
Hmm.
And in my 4 5 years of being in the field of mental health, I have realized that this is a field where
Hmm.
things are still unexplored, and there's a lot of work that is needed to be done. There are a lot of things that uh, the society lacks in awareness, and a lot of things that can be initiated in this aspect. And
Yeah.
mental health is a very broad field, and it has a lot of aspects to it, and sadly we neglect most of these. So it's a very interesting field that I thankfully chose, and I'm really lucky to be associated with mental health professionals around me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Sounds good. So, because you are a mental health professional, so you might be dealing with different mental health problems. So, today we're going to talk about the addiction. So, Dr. Anand, we want to understand what is addiction in a very layman language, like the person who do not understand the technical terms in psychiatry or the psychology. So, how you will define, how will you be presenting your thoughts about addiction?
Well, see, addiction is something which is very commonly used in the society. In medical terms, obviously, we do not use the term addiction as such. We use the term dependence. But
Okay.
overall, the meaning is very same, very
Mm-hmm.
similar in both the regards. The
Mm-hmm.
most important thing that is that there is a desire to take substance which does not get fulfilled. Even after taking the substance, there is a desire or craving that continues and persists for a long period of time. And whenever the person is taking any substance, let's say it's alcohol, it's smoking, it's any form of addiction, so there is a lack of control over the quantity of the substance. So whenever the person starts taking any substance, they sort of lose control over it, and they cannot stop themselves from consuming in a limited amount. And because of that, this what is happening is that in addiction there's a lot of socio-occupational decline. So the entire focus shifts on procuring and using the substance, and the person loses focus from his work and from his family life and other aspects of the life, and even physical health might get hindered. So
Okay.
that is what is addiction.
Okay. So when you talk about addiction of taking the substances, so we want to also know that is there any different kind of addictions as well? Like you're saying that the person do crave for something, for
Right.
any material or anything. So is it only with the material when we talk about the addiction, or there can be some different type of addictions can also be there?
So there are substance use disorders basically, or substance addictions, and there are behavioral addictions also, which are coming up now more than ever. And
Hmm.
these behavioral addictions can be to various aspects. There is mobile phone addiction, there is online gaming addiction, there is social media addiction, Facebook
Right.
addiction, and there is sex addiction, porn addiction.
Okay.
So there is gambling addiction. So
Mobile
there are
addiction.
yes. So there are many forms of behavioral addictions also
Hmm.
that are being recognized more and more these days.
Okay. So which form of addiction is, more available, more impactful in the society nowadays?
So I feel that the most common forms of addiction are mainly nicotine addiction.
Okay.
So various forms of tobacco are the most common substances that are used in the form of smoking and in the form of chewable tobacco. So
Hmm.
that is the most common form of substance addiction that is seen in the society.
Okay. Okay. And after that, what is the terms in the chronology of the
So
addictions?
the most common is like I told, nicotine addiction or
Nicotine. Yeah.
tobacco addiction. Then
Yes.
comes alcohol, and
Hmm.
then it's closely followed by the opioids and cannabis and
Okay.
other sedatives. So these are the most common ones that are seen. Now the behavioral addictions like social media addiction are also coming up in a
Behavioral and social media addictions.
yes, definitely they are also coming up quite an extent.
Okay. Okay. So, Dr. Anand, we want to know, like, what is the journey, like from starting from the thought of taking something, any substance, or any thought of any craving, right? And till the addiction. So, what is the journey? Like, what are the various steps? And can we stop in between, or can we move our direction from there? So, we would like to know all those, the initial things that when the addiction gets started.
So, like any person who uses any substance, initially it's always in a social, situation. They are taking it for celebration. They are taking it
Mm-hmm.
for any parties or any get-togethers, and that is when it starts. So, usually the start is always in a recreational manner, and because of peer pressure, they might want to experiment during their college times or during, their in their work or anywhere. That is how they usually get introduced to it. And
Okay.
after the introduction, for a long period of time, there is no such problem, and there's no such situation where they land into addiction. It's always occasional use, and socially they are taking any substance. Gradually, what happens is because of various triggers from the environment, and
Hmm.
plus there is a lot of genetic predisposition also in cases of addictions. So there are biological changes that are there
Hmm.
which predispose a person to develop these forms of addiction.
Okay.
So from there, it sort of moves on to increase in the use. So the frequency gradually increases. Then from the frequency, the quantity also increases. So if a person is, let's say, taking one or two pegs of alcohol, they might gradually increase it. And if they are taking it once in a month, they might increase it to once in 2 weeks. And that is how it gradually keeps on increasing. So you don't really see a pattern in yourself that it has started increasing. For you, it appears to be completely normal. Even if the person's recognized, they still sort of deny it and brush it away that it's okay, and it can be handled and it's in their control. That is when it sort of goes haywire, and that is when it sort of leads to addiction.
Okay. So, does it depend person to person that when it will become the addiction, or
Definitely. So it
like
depends
for
on
example,
the
I'm
biology.
if a person says that I take occasionally, or if a person is taking thrice or 5 times in a month. So, I mean, what are the parameters? Do we have any line where we can say that okay, now behind that there can be addiction thing? You can
Right.
crave for things again and again. Yeah.
Definitely. So there are clear-cut diagnostic guidelines which have been laid out by various organizations, including the World Health Organization,
Mhm.
and they have clearly defined when it is considered as an addiction and when it is considered as just using for whatever reason. So there are clear cut guidelines which, like I said, there is a lack of control over the use of the substance, so the
Mhm.
person might not be able to control the quantity or the frequency of drinking. There is a strong desire to take the substance. Along with that, even when they start seeing any changes in their physical health, when the substance starts affecting their physical health, they might still ignore it and still continue to take the substance. And there's a neglect of alternate activities. So they neglect their social responsibilities, their occupational responsibilities, and they are sort of diverted entirely towards taking the substance. So this is known as drug seeking behavior in our terms.
Mhm.
And when we see such a combination of symptoms in a person, that is when we diagnose them as having any dependence or addiction.
Okay. Okay. So he was saying that whenever person is out of control, or he's withdrawing himself from the social situations or from the general day-to-day activities that he is doing or he used to do, so it means a person need to think about it. He or she might be having the addiction, so
Definitely.
then they can
Definitely.
approach for help in that
Definitely.
situation. Right.
Definitely.
One thing is very common, like people generally say that, oh, uski to aadat hi aisi hai. I mean, he's in the habit of taking this thing, he's in the habit of taking this thing. Addiction terms बहुत पीछे छूट जाता है, right? Addiction, people do
Definitely.
not use this word, they use the habit word, and then people take it lightly. Oh, इसकी तो आदत ही ऐसी है. So how this addiction thing is different from the habit, and we can say the nature of the person, कि ये तो इसका नेचर है, ये ऐसा ही करता है. तो हाउ वी
Right.
डिफरेंशिएट कि हैबिट है या फिर एडिक्शन है, या हैबिट को ही हम एडिक्शन बोलते हैं.
So I feel that habit, and so whenever people say that this person has a habit of drinking or habit of smoking a lot, I feel that they might be that's it's their own personal perception or subjective perception of the other person's condition, and
Mhm.
it might be that the person is addicted. There is a chance that it's not really a habit, it is an addiction, and people just use a common term for this. So in the society, this is seen from more of a habit forming or from a moralistic background rather than from a medical perspective. So people think that it is because they have a bad character or a bad personality, or they are not they have a habit of drinking, or they consider them as having low morals, and that is why they are sort of breaking the rules while drinking and or taking any other substance. So people see it
Hmm.
from an entirely different angle. Whereas in medical terms, what is considered as a habit by general people is considered as addiction. Usually it is an addiction in the medical terms. There still might be some people who are just taking it on a regular basis, but they are still able to control their quantity, and they are able to prevent any harm to the physical health and everything. But most of the time, it is definitely so that it is considered as addiction.
Okay. So when we say that generally there are habits, so we need to check that these habits are, you know, are harmful for us or not. If these are the harmful for us, if these habits are withdrawing us or stopping us to be more productive or to use our potential, it means that can be addiction. It means
Definitely.
we should focus on that habit, and we can ask for help to any psychiatrist or the psychologist for that, right?
Definitely.
So I just want to ask you, for example, a person got addicted once and now he's okay, he's perfectly fine because he got a great treatment. So is it recurring? I
So,
mean,
yeah.
first time having the this addiction will lead to the another time as well.
So, yes, definitely there is this disorder is such that there is a chance of recurrence or relapse, as it is said. And once a person has developed the addiction or substance dependence, there is always a chance that the person might have lapses or relapses at any given stage. So
Hmm.
basically, when the treatment is done, the treatment includes the management based on the medicines, as well as psychotherapy and counseling is done, which sort of targets this recurrence or relapse. So it is actually called as relapse prevention counseling, and it is done in the during the phase where de-addiction process is being carried out, so that the relapses can be prevented. So there is always a chance that the person might go back to taking the substance again, even after the treatment has been done. There is still a chance for that, definitely.
Okay, there are chances for that. Okay,
Yes.
so we want to know what are the various solutions in psychiatry that you use for this.
So there are a multitude of options that are there. There is OPD, there are OPD services that are there in mild or moderate cases. In
Mm-hmm.
severe forms of cases where the quantity of taking the substance is a lot and there are a lot of physical health issues as well. So it generally requires admission to a facility and then going for the detoxification and de-addiction process. Along with that, so during these in these services, in the OPD services or the inpatient services, there are various forms of treatments that are there. There is withdrawal management with medications that are given to replace the effects of the substance. Along with that, a lot of assessment is done to figure out what are the triggers that the person has to that led to the substance addiction. There might be some comorbid psychiatric disorder which everyone is missing, which the person also might not realize because of the substance, either because of the substance or it might be comorbid. So those are treated during the psychiatric treatment. Along with that, there is definitely counseling and psychotherapy which is given to the patients, and in this the relapse prevention is done. Along with that, there are a lot of assessment of triggers and assessment for any other cognitive or behavioral aspects.
Okay, okay. So when you are saying that addiction is on the mild, moderate, and on severe level, right? So I think the people, when the addiction is on the severe level, only then they go and approach to the psychiatrist or they go to the rehab
Yes,
center,
true.
and then they get the treatment done. But the mild and moderate thing, it is not very much highlighted. I mean, people do not understand till then, till it is the very severe. Okay,
Definitely.
so we would like to have the differentiate between all three, because it is really really helpful for the people if they will analyze on moderate or mild level. Okay, okay, they have addiction or they have something that they can go to seek help from someone.
Definitely. I also feel that if they are able to recognize it at a very early stage, it definitely gets better results in treatment. And so there is basically no particular demarcation in all the substances. In some substances, the mild, moderate, severe depends upon the quantity of the drink or the quantity of the substance that is being taken or the frequency of the substance. Whereas in some disorders, it is also it considers the physical harm or the physical conditions that are caused by any of these substances. So there are various factors that are seen. So the mild and moderate basically can be recognized just on the basis of what we had discussed earlier. So what people refer to as being habits, or that this person has this habit. So I feel that that might be just a mild to moderate form of the addiction, which has just started. It has not caused any harm. There is still some form of control over the drinking or the other substance that they are taking, but it is going towards the direction of being more severe and leading to physical harm. So that is how they can recognize. If you feel that you can see that this person has a habit of taking some substance, I feel that that is the right time to initiate an intervention. Take them to a
Okay,
psychologist or a psychiatrist for some form of intervention.
okay, okay, great. So how to identify that person needs the medicines, or the psychotherapy or the counseling will work?
So again, this depends upon. So initially, everyone needs some form of medications to manage the withdrawal. So whenever the uh, person leaves any substance, there are a set of withdrawal symptoms particular to each substance that might occur. Most commonly, there are tremors, restlessness, and disturbed sleep. So these symptoms need to be first managed by giving some form of medication. Definitely, it is needed in the initial phase of withdrawal management. Afterwards, along with this, the medications are usually tapered off, and then the counseling is done. So, in most of the cases, medicines are required in the initial phase. Then, gradually, whether an anti-craving substance medicine is needed or not needed, that is decided based on the person's choices. Whether the person wants to go for a medication or the person wants to go for counseling. So it depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the severity of the illness. It also
Right.
depends upon the person's choice also,
Okay.
how the person wants to go about it, whether the person is comfortable with taking the medicines or just with the psychotherapy.
Okay. So both can work, even but on the basis of the choice of a person as well.
Right, definitely. So
Okay.
initially, obviously, to manage the withdrawal, since
Hmm.
there can sometimes be severe withdrawal symptoms also, so medications are given in the initial phase.
Okay. But
But
in the
afterwards,
mild cases, so it is not necessary that they need the medicines
in the
on.
mild cases,
Hmm.
if they are going for, it's usually recommended that they go for a medication assisted withdrawal management and detoxification only. So
Hmm.
even if, so mild forms might not require admission to a facility or to a hospital, they
Okay.
might be treated in OPD, but they also do require some form of medication. Maybe a milder dose, maybe a lesser dose than the ones who have severe disorder, but they do also require medicines in the initial phase of withdrawal
In the
management.
initial phase, okay.
Right,
And then the counseling and the psychotherapy will work for
right,
that.
right, right.
Okay. So there are many people who say that the medicines have the great side effect on the body. So, I mean, is it true? How you'll go about it? Like the people, when people say that we should not go for the medicines
So
due to
I
the side
believe
effect.
that this is a big myth that is there in our society, that the medicines have a lot of side effects. Yes, definitely. I am not denying that the medicines don't have any side effects. I feel that every medicine has some or the other side effect. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on person to person, variability also. It also depends on what dose of medicine we are using. But I will definitely say that if we are considering the risk versus benefit, so the benefit of taking the medicines is definitely more compared to the risks of side effects. The side effects usually occur at a very higher dose and when it's taken for a regular basis. Otherwise, most of the medicines are usually taken for a short term period and they don't cause such great side effects that it will be debilitating. But
Okay.
definitely, they are required to manage the disorder. And in case of addiction, if we consider, so
Hmm.
substance that the person is taking is definitely causing more harm compared to the side effects of the medicines that we are giving. So definitely, I feel that it's better to go for the medicine rather than go for the substance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There are some psychology students who are asking this, like, what kind of therapies or the counseling approaches a person required in this addiction thing.
So there are various forms of psychotherapy that are done in addiction. So
Mm-hmm.
one form of psychotherapy that is commonly done is the cognitive behavioral therapy, and it focuses on a lot of factors. So there are some set cognitions that are recognized in the form of addiction. There are behavioral patterns that need to be modified, lifestyle modifications, and relapse prevention model is discussed in the uh, cognitive behavioral therapy pattern. And so this is one form of therapy that can be done, cognitive behavioral therapy. The other types of psychotherapy that can be done are motivation enhancement therapy. So there are various steps at which different forms of motivation enhancement is done. In
Okay.
the initial phase, when the patient is in denial or the patient is not willing to take treatment, then brief intervention is done. So
Okay.
brief intervention also follows the principles of motivation enhancement, but it only creates some discrepancy in the person's goals versus the person's present condition. And then there is the uh, proper sessions of motivation enhancement therapy that are done. Besides this, there is also the self-help groups are there. And based on the self-help groups, methodology, there is 12-step, therapy, 12-step help therapy, which can
Okay.
also be undertaken. Yeah. So these are
Okay,
the
these are the
major
various.
forms of therapy. Yeah.
Okay, the CBT and the motivational
Enhancement
therapy,
therapy.
enhancement therapy,
Yeah.
and this 12-step therapy. You're saying this.
Yes.
This will
Yes.
work in the addiction. Okay,
Definitely.
so because there was a situation from last 6 months, the coronavirus thing or the lockdown situation. So, do you
Mhm.
think there is any effect of this on the mental health of the people, and how this psychiatry or the counseling industry is dealing with this? What is your idea about
So definitely because of the COVID-19 situation, because of the lockdown and because of the threat and risk that is there because of the virus and infection.
it? Hmm.
Definitely, there has been a rise in the psychiatric cases, and people are stressed because of multitude of factors. One is because of the illness itself. There is a fear of getting the illness. There is also a lot of because of the lockdown and people working from home. There have been a lot of layoffs from the companies, and many people have lost their jobs. Many people have lost
Right.
their livings, so it
Hmm.
has definitely impacted a lot of people and impacted their lives and impacted their mental health to a significant extent.
Hmm.
So people who had any form of psychiatric disorder earlier, their symptoms have precipitated during the this period of lockdown. And people who did not have a psychiatric disorder, who had been undergoing some form of stress, so those who were predisposed to developing any disorder, they have sort of developed the symptoms of those disorders. So definitely, it has taken a toll on the mental health of many people, and it is definitely a stressful situation. So psychiatry and psychology fraternity and the mental health professionals basically are taking extra measures to help people out as much as they can. A lot of new startups have been set up that are providing counseling at reasonable rates, and they are trying to reach out to more and more people. Telepsychiatry has been introduced, and it has become a major platform. So
Right.
basically, online counseling has become a very major platform. So that is a good progress in the right direction.
So it is the online thing helping. I mean, there's a change that from the offline thing, now the psychiatry, the counseling industry is online nowadays.
Right, definitely.
Okay, is there any rise in addiction cases as well? Do you have you noticed this thing as well? People got
I don't.
addicted.
I don't think that particularly there is a rise in addiction cases because of this. There
Hmm.
might have been people who were not really, they had not approached the healthcare facilities till now. But because of the lockdown, because of so many stress that so many factors that has caused stress to them, because of that, they have started approaching for this condition. So the severity might have increased. The number of cases, I would not say that they have increased, but the
Okay,
severity definitely has
severity.
increased. Yes. So people are now, because of that, they are now approaching. Maybe they had addiction earlier also, but because of the lockdown, the consumption sort of increased of the substance. Substance use basically increased.
Okay, okay, great. So there are various, as I told you, there are various students nowadays who are coming up, and people are getting aware by this field, by psychiatry or the psychology. People are
Right.
opting it, and they are understanding the need. They are understanding that they need to. We need to solve the problem in this area. So people are coming up.
Right.
So they many times they ask various questions about this.
Hmm.
So the one question is like, how do you think that what kind of challenges or the failures you yourself has faced during your the professional career, and how you deal with those failures?
So I would not really say that I am still pretty young in my career as of now. So I have not really seen a lot of failures as of now
Hmm.
in the field of mental health. And I feel that it's a very upcoming field, and I definitely feel that in the future this is something which is going to be more and more, and it will come more and more to light that there are mental health issues in the society, and it is going to be a expanding field rather than there might not be so many limitations that the people perceive that they will have in this. I feel that it's a very growing field and there will be more and more opportunities rather than lack of opportunities in this particular field. So I don't really feel that I have faced failure till now, thanks to God's grace. But there is a chance, definitely, in the initial phases when you are in your training period, that you might feel that whether you are good enough to counsel someone or whether you are good enough to understand other people's problems.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that that understanding first starts from you understanding yourself. The moment you start applying those principles to yourself and trying to understand yourself more, I think that gives you a better understanding of what other people might be going through. So empathy is something which empathy and emotional intelligence is something which will go a long way in the careers of people who are trying to go for any mental health profession. Definitely.
Empathy and emotional intelligence, you are saying.
Yes.
Okay, and active listening too.
Definitely.
Listening plays a major role.
Definitely.
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 Okay, perfect. So, the people who are watching this, they might not be having the addiction, but would you like to give some points to them? They can analyze it on initial level, and they can handle it from their own. They do not need to go to any psychiatrist and psychologist when it is on initial level, because this session is also gonna be the awareness session for the people. It is not that only they will be having the withdrawal symptoms only, and then somebody will approve, okay, you have addiction, so now you need to take the help or something. So what a person from himself need to do on daily basis with him, with their habits or with their routine work.
So, my advice or my suggestions are that for first and foremost is that it's very important to recognize, to self-analyze whether, based on what we have discussed today, does anyone feel that they might have these symptoms in themselves? If they are able to recognize this and identify their own problem, definitely they will need to seek treatment on their own. So they need to analyze themselves and not try to brush it away. They should seek help if they need. For the people who do not feel that they have addiction, the
Mhm.
most important thing which takes you away from addiction, besides the treatment itself, is forming a good lifestyle, a good daily routine. So, lifestyle modification is a major part of what I am going to suggest today. And so you need to form a daily routine where you have activities planned out throughout your day. You have your work, fixed schedule for work, and you have your hobbies, some forms of relaxation in the form of yoga, meditation, some
Mm.
daily physical activity like exercise, walk, and a good balanced diet. So if you are able to maintain that, I don't think that, so there are, like I said, genetic predispositions are there in many people for this, but
Mhm.
it's the environmental factors that shape who you become. So genetic predisposition does not necessarily mean that you will land up into addiction. It's the environmental factors that play a major role. So if you are able to manage those aspects, I think definitely you can prevent yourself from going into addiction. If you follow a good lifestyle and you make up a good daily routine, then that
Mhm.
definitely goes a long way.
Okay, great, great, Dr. Anand. So do you also have a message for the people who think, I mean, for example, in a family, if a person is into the addiction or into the different habits, definitely there are all family members who do not like that. So they start hating that. They start saying something different things to those people. So do we also have a message for those people? I mean, how they can support, how they can understand that yes, this person is in need. I mean, he's not having control on himself only. So do we also have a message for them?
Definitely. So my message to the family members of the people who are dealing with addiction is that sometimes we do go into criticizing and giving critical comments to the persons who are suffering from addiction. We have to realize that it's not the society's perception of them going into a bad habit or them being bad. So rather than seeing from a moralistic point of view, it has to be seen from an illness point of view, from a medical point of view, and you have to be as supportive to them as you can be and help them in seeking treatment, rather than criticizing them, giving them critical comments, and isolating from them more and more and withdrawing from them. We
Mhm.
should give them more and more support, and help them get through this phase in their life, get through the disorder that they are facing. So definitely the social support plays a major role in the treatment. And if a person has a good social support from their family and their surrounding, their neighbors, their friends, definitely they have better results compared to the persons who are more isolated.
Right, right. Thank you so much for that. Really, we got enlightened. We got to know about this addiction in a very simplified way, and how, on initial level, a person can do something so that he cannot go into the addiction thing. So now I have some quick questions for you. Like, these are the rapid fire questions. Okay, so you
Yeah,
can answer these questions in just one line or in one word if it is possible for you.
sure.
Perfect. So one thing you like about addiction.
Like, so I don't think I have
You
any.
do not like anything about addiction. Okay. Okay. So maybe there can be one positive thing here. If a person, I mean, already had addiction in, past, so maybe he can learn this thing, like what not to do,
Right,
what were the mistakes that he did at that time, and he got addicted. Because
right,
many times people do not understand that social things are influencing that, as you said in the starting, that people start taking in the parties, or the social influence is there.
right,
So
right,
might be he'll be able to control that social influence after
right.
that.
Definitely. So
Okay,
I will
perfect.
agree to that. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you. So the emotions, the when we react in the emotions, right? So I would like to know your expression. What kind of expression you will be having, what kind of emotion you'll be showing on your face by listening these words. Okay, the first word is Facebook.
So I'll be happy.
You'll be happy. Okay. Okay, Instagram.
And I think same.
Same. Okay, no,
Yeah.
Twitter.
I don't follow Twitter much, so
Okay, so one app, one best app in your mobile phone is.
uh, I would say I wouldn't say there's any best app. I would say that maybe the pictures gallery, because it has a lot of memories. So I feel
Okay.
that is something which connects
Pictures
to me most.
gallery. So you do not have
Yeah.
lots of apps in your mobile phone.
Not much.
Okay, okay. And name one thing that you learned in the past 1 week, the last week.
So last 1 week, um, I basically learned that everyone really, there are people. So in it was something related to addiction only, surprisingly, that people do want to quit. The people do want to get out of their problems. It's not that how the society expects that the person does not want to give up their habit like they say it. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that they don't know the solution to it. So I did learn this, that they are also trying to find solutions to it, and they just need an answer, and when they get the answer, they do get better. So this is what I
Right.
learned.
Okay, great, great. Thank you so much. So, have you ever got some addiction symptoms in you? Ever?
Not really. At least I have never recognized them.
Okay. Any strange explanation you got whenever you are in front of your client related to the addiction? Any strange explanation?
So obviously there are many strange explanations. A lot of times when the person is married, or the person is in a family or with a friend, so
Mhm.
usually the explanations are this only, that the person was completely fine and he was a very good person, and he got into this habit because of so and so person, because of his wife, or because of her husband, or because of this family or this friend. So the most illogical explanations or strange explanations that I feel
Okay,
are there.
okay. What is your reaction to the, there are various people outside who says that, psychiatrists or the people who work in the mental health field, वो तो आधे पागल होते हैं, right? So, what is your reaction on this?
So I generally don't give any reaction to this. I expect them to find out on their own, based on their own experiences, whether we are really mad or not. But I feel that
Okay.
this is something which has really been just created as a myth to keep people away from the stigma of going to a psychiatrist. This is what I feel. So I don't really react to it much. I just try to
Okay.
explain to them, why it is needed. Them considering us mad is something for them to decide. So I don't really want to change anyone's opinions on that.
Okay. Okay, okay. So this is a myth,
Yes,
definitely.
definitely.
Okay. What is the approach to solve the addiction problem you frequently use, you personally like to use?
So I basically, in the form of therapy, I definitely like to go for motivation enhancement therapy
Okay.
and the cognitive behavioral therapy more. And Along with that, I do recommend medications. So since I am a psychiatrist, I do definitely like the pharmacological approach to it, along with the psychotherapy. So I follow a combined approach. And definitely, like I mentioned, the most important aspect that I follow during my therapy is the family support.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the person loses a lot of family support when they are into addiction. So my major target is to build that back up. So that is on the lines on which I work.
Okay. Great. So, book that you read frequently.
I would say our textbook of psychiatry, actually, the comprehensive
Okay.
textbook of
No, no,
psychiatry.
except that, any
Except
novel.
that, uh, I would say I read Jeffrey Archer and Sidney Sheldon, and there are a few fiction, non-fiction books I read. A lot of motivation books I read.
Okay. One
Yeah.
book that you would like to name here that you personally
I
like.
so I personally like the Robin Cook's Contagion.
Okay.
I like that book a lot.
Robin Cook's Contagion.
Yes.
Okay. I know there are a lot of people who might be downloading this book now. Okay. Okay. One thing you want to learn.
So I am
You are learning.
So I am really looking forward to learning more and more on psychotherapies, because just the psychotherapies that I mentioned are very few of the types of therapies that are available in the world, and that are being practiced in the world. So I
Right.
am a lot fascinated by the types of therapies, and
Mm-hmm.
I take a lot of interest in learning those from various workshops and various workbooks and everything. So definitely, that is something that I would want to learn more and more.
Okay, okay. Well, Dr. Anand, thank you so much. It was really a wonderful talk.
Same
It
here.
was really. I personally got to learn many things from when I was asking the questions from you. Thank you so much, and keep doing the great work. And
Thank you.
thank you so much, Dr. Anand. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Okay. So, viewers, I hope you got some insight about addiction, or how you initially can take care of yourself, how you can manage your own daily life routine, your work, how, you know, whenever we talk about addiction, we talk about the habits, right? We talk about the behaviors, we talk about the thinking. So, initially, everything starts with the thinking, and then the chain gets started of, we react, we behave, we form various habits. And then maybe, when the habits are not very good, not appropriate, or that are, giving harm to us, definitely we call this, it can be the addiction as well. So thank you so much for connecting with Council India. And definitely it's a platform for you people, if you want to learn more, if you want to understand the psychology in a practical way, you want to help yourself or you want to help people around you, definitely you can contact Council India. And if you have any question related to anything, like So you can ask us, you can write to Council India, anything related to the psychology and the psychiatry. And definitely next Sunday we're gonna come live. The topic most probably will be the child psychology. So there'll be a person who is the clinical psychologist. He'll be with us right now. He's working with Government of India. So we'll reveal this, a name of that person very soon. Thank you so much for connecting with Council India. Have a good day.